Lucas Merrick stepped onto his yacht that Saturday morning, expecting a quiet day at the Montauk Yacht Club, but what he never saw coming was a betrayal that would cost him his life and shock everyone who knew him. The Montauk Yacht Club was a symbol of elegance and exclusivity, a place where the wealthy came to relax, entertain, and escape the pressures of the outside world. On the surface, it seemed serene, with its polished wooden docks stretching into the calm harbor and yachts gliding gently across the sparkling water. That Saturday morning, however, the tranquility was about to be shattered in a way that no one could have anticipated. Lucas Merrick, a prominent financier known for his calculated business moves and quiet social presence, was found lifeless on one of the larger yachts docked at the far end of the marina. The discovery was made by a member of the security team during a routine inspection. The moment they saw him slumped over the captain's chair, their stomachs sank. The shattered bottle of high-end whiskey on the floor added a dramatic, almost cinematic, note to the scene, and a chill swept through the yacht as they realized something was terribly wrong. Authorities arrived quickly, their footsteps echoing on the wooden deck, and the initial reports pointed to what seemed like a tragic accident. The yacht's deck, polished but slick with morning dew, made it believable that a misstep could lead to a fatal fall. But seasoned detectives knew that accidents often told their own story, and something about the scene felt too deliberate, too staged. Lucas's personal belongings, his wallet, watch, and phone were all undisturbed, leaving no sign of struggle or robbery. The air was heavy with questions. How could someone fall so suddenly, in a place they knew well? As investigators examined the yacht, they noted its meticulous order, the way everything seemed carefully placed rather than left in chaotic disarray. In the distance, the harbor reflected the morning sun, calm and peaceful, almost mocking the violence that had unfolded on its edge. Friends and fellow club members were later interviewed, each expressing disbelief and sorrow. But detectives sensed tension beneath their polite words, a subtle unease that suggested there was more to the story than a simple accident. Even before forensic tests were complete, theories began to swirl. Could it have been an accident at all? Or had someone orchestrated the entire scene with precision, using the yacht's isolation and the quiet morning as the perfect cover? The Montauk Yacht Club, a haven of luxury and relaxation, had become the site of a mystery that would grip the local community and set the stage for revelations far darker than anyone could have imagined. Detectives began their investigation with painstaking attention to detail, examining every corner of the yacht for clues. The polished deck, the gleaming railings, and the expensive furnishings all seemed untouched, as if nothing had disturbed them. There were no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints outside of the usual crew and members, and no evidence of a struggle. Lucas Merrick's personal belongings remained exactly where they should have been, untouched and pristine. The absence of any obvious motive or suspect left investigators puzzled. The yacht, usually bustling with staff and members during the weekend, appeared eerily empty in the hours leading up to the discovery. Security footage was reviewed frame by frame, yet it revealed nothing conclusive. One camera, partially obstructed by a decorative sail, caught only a fleeting shadow crossing the deck just minutes before Lucas fell. The figure was indistinct, blurred by the movement, but it was enough to spark questions. Who had been on the yacht at that time, and why had they avoided the main cameras? As the detectives dug deeper, they uncovered details about Lucas's life that complicated the investigation. He had recently been involved in a high-stakes real estate deal on the East End, a transaction that had angered several influential people in the area. The deal had been contentious, involving disputes over property rights and significant sums of money. Investigators began to wonder if the accident had been more than chance, a deliberate act designed to remove him from the picture. Staff members were interviewed repeatedly, yet everyone seemed to have a solid alibi. No one recalled seeing any unusual visitors, and the yacht's exclusive access made it unlikely that a stranger could have entered unnoticed. Despite the calm appearance of the yacht, subtle irregularities emerged. A maintenance worker recalled noticing an unfamiliar figure near the dock the previous night, someone who had lingered longer than expected before leaving quietly. No one at the club could identify this person, and the description did not match any regular member. The detectives considered that this shadow might hold the key to the mystery. They began to piece together the timeline of events, aligning it with Lucas's known schedule, phone records, and meetings. The sense of unease grew as they realized that the yacht had become more than a luxurious retreat. It had become the center of a carefully orchestrated puzzle. Every clue, every shadow seemed deliberate, as if the incident had been planned with meticulous precision. The more they investigated, the clearer it became that what initially appeared to be a simple accident might hide a far more sinister reality, one that threatened to expose secrets far beyond the Montauk Yacht Club's polished exterior. Forensic analysis delivered the first unsettling revelation in the case. Toxicology reports revealed traces of a rare sedative in Lucas Merrick's system, enough to disorient him and make even a minor misstep deadly. The so-called accident began to take on a chilling new dimension. Investigators realized they were no longer dealing with a simple slip on a wet deck. Someone had carefully planned to incapacitate him. The question now was who had both the motive and the access to the yacht at just the right time. Detectives revisited interviews, scrutinizing every statement, looking for contradictions or hints of deception. Staff members and club members all maintained their innocence, claiming to have been elsewhere or otherwise occupied. But small inconsistencies began to emerge: offhand comments, vague recollections, and nervous hesitations that didn't align with documented schedules. One maintenance worker remembered seeing an unfamiliar figure moving across the yacht late the previous night, someone who had slipped in unnoticed and lingered longer than was typical. There was no record of the person's identity, no badge or registration, and no one could account for them. It was as if the shadow had been a ghost, appearing just long enough to execute a plan and vanish without a trace. Investigators dug into Lucas Merrick's personal life, examining his friendships, business rivalries, and even minor disputes that could have escalated. They discovered that he had been trusted implicitly by a close circle of associates. Yet the sedative indicated a level of access and familiarity that only an insider could have had. Surveillance footage was reviewed again, this time using advanced image enhancement. In one frame, a movement near the captain's chair could be seen, a fleeting blur that suggested someone had been placing or adjusting something on the deck. Though barely noticeable, this small detail changed the trajectory of the investigation. Every lead seemed to hint at premeditation. The yacht's environment, the carefully arranged scene, and the sophisticated sedative all pointed to a deliberate plan rather than a random accident. Detectives began mapping out all possible scenarios, considering every person with access, from staff to close family friends. Each thread revealed a network of trust and betrayal, showing how someone Lucas relied upon could have orchestrated the event with chilling precision. The more the investigation progressed, the more it became clear that Lucas Merrick's death was not just a tragic accident, but a calculated act designed to conceal something deeper, a secret that someone would go to extraordinary lengths to protect. The investigation took an unexpected and startling turn when detectives examined Lucas Merrick's phone records and digital correspondence. A series of encrypted messages revealed that he had been meeting someone in secret in the weeks leading up to his death. The communications were brief but frequent, suggesting a relationship built on trust and urgency. Investigators wondered what secrets Lucas had been keeping, and from whom. The messages hinted at something significant, something worth hiding. Yet the identity of the other party remained elusive. Meanwhile, a closer review of the yacht's interior revealed subtle but important clues. In the lounge, a small decorative mirror had captured a fleeting reflection in its surface, almost invisible at first glance. Forensic analysts enhanced the footage and saw a blurred figure moving quickly across the room, placing something near the shattered whiskey bottle before slipping away. The reflection was brief, almost imperceptible, but it confirmed what investigators had begun to suspect. Someone had deliberately staged the scene. The sophistication of the act suggested that the perpetrator was familiar with the yacht and its security measures, someone who could operate unnoticed in a place heavily monitored by cameras and staff. Further analysis of the yacht revealed a tiny electronic device tucked beneath the floorboards near the captain's chair. Forensic teams confirmed it was a tampered tracker, likely used to monitor Lucas's movements and possibly manipulate his access to certain areas. The device had been carefully placed to avoid detection, adding yet another layer of planning to the scheme. Detectives realized that this was no random act of violence. It was a meticulously executed plan. The perpetrator had studied Lucas's habits, the layout of the yacht, and even the timing of security patrols. Every detail had been considered, making the crime appear accidental while concealing its sinister intent. As investigators pieced together the timeline, it became clear that Lucas had been lured onto the yacht under false pretenses. The sedative, The staged fall, the strategically placed device, and the blurred reflection all pointed to someone with inside knowledge, someone who knew how to exploit Lucas's trust. The realization sent a ripple of unease through the detective team. A friend, a trusted associate, or even a family confidant could be involved. The layers of deception began to unfold, revealing a betrayal far deeper than anyone could have anticipated. The Montauk Yacht Club, once a symbol of luxury and leisure, had become a theater for a calculated act of treachery, and the true mastermind was still hiding in plain sight. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Lucas Merrick's accountant, someone who had worked closely with him for years, provided investigators with access to hidden financial records. At first glance, everything appeared normal, but a deeper review revealed a pattern of secret transactions, offshore accounts, and unexplained transfers. The sums were substantial, and the records suggested someone close to Lucas was siphoning money without his knowledge. The discovery changed the direction of the investigation completely, turning what had seemed like an isolated incident into a story of betrayal and calculated greed. Detectives cross-referenced the financial trail with security footage and staff testimonies. One name kept appearing: a trusted family friend who had regular access to the yacht and frequent, unsupervised visits. Investigators compared the figure in the blurred reflection from the mirror to this individual and found a disturbing match. The same person had been seen lingering near Lucas's office the week prior, and one of the encrypted messages appeared to have been sent to them. Everything aligned: motive, opportunity, and access. The realization sent shockwaves through the investigation. Lucas Merrick had been betrayed by someone he trusted implicitly, a person who knew his routines and exploited them with precision. Authorities reconstructed the events leading to that fateful morning. Lucas had been lured onto the yacht under the pretense of discussing a business opportunity, unaware that the sedative had already been administered. The perpetrator had staged the fall, shattered the whiskey bottle for dramatic effect, and manipulated the tracker to make the scene appear accidental. Every element of the crime was designed to mislead, to hide the underlying theft and betrayal. The yacht, a symbol of wealth and exclusivity, had become the backdrop for a carefully executed plan, and the perpetrator's confidence in their invisibility had nearly allowed the crime to remain unsolved. Once confronted with the evidence, the accused initially denied involvement, but the mounting proof: financial records, surveillance footage, and forensic analysis made denial impossible. The confession, when it came, revealed a chilling level of calculation and cold planning. The betrayal cut deep, not just for the family and friends of Lucas Merrick, but for the entire Montauk Yacht Club community. The story concluded with a stark reminder: wealth and privilege cannot shield anyone from treachery, and sometimes the most dangerous threats come from those closest to us. In the end, Lucas Merrick's death was no accident. It was the result of a deliberate, cunningly orchestrated act of greed, deception, and betrayal, a bombshell twist that left the Montauk Yacht Club forever changed.